thickness of his carotid artery.
Now
Still.
that can I'm just trying to imagine this.
It's hard to wrap your brain around, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, how easy could it have been to have a blood clot, have now high blood pressure because trying to fix it, all these types of stuff, brain aneurysm, all these effects that can go into this injury.
Well, and then think about it this way too. He went 4 races.
Hard races. Now this isn't just going around like our tracks. This is hard
This is not
racing.
4Bs or Hornets at Willamette Speedway or Sunset Speedway. This is 1,000, 1,100 horsepower, 2,300 pound
Balls to the wall
chassis
every single lap.
flying. I mean, you're doing. We get guys get them on the speed trap at Willamette going 80 plus down the backstretch. They're going fast. They're hauling the mail. And think about that. Now, you've got 4 layers in your carotid artery. He's down to 1. So you're at 25%. Now, think about when you're sitting there at home and you go to crack your neck. That could have torn that last layer.
That's just scary, dude.
It's scary.
I mean, it just boggles my mind again on how he can go through 3 other different doctors, be cleared, go to his father's friend, and they sit there and they say, you have an issue.
Well, and here's the thing, is reading through the press release and everything else from Jared Lander's team and his owner, his team owner who's also his dad, Lance, they found it, but this is only the 3rd one they've seen in a major Arkansas hospital.
Wow.
So it's not a huge, not a very common injury, and they mainly see it in automobile accidents. Happen in a race car, though. Race car's an automobile. They mainly see it when seatbelts, when the driver or the passenger falls down a little bit and the seatbelt rubs their neck. Basically, the type of tear that he suffered is I would call it a compression tear, where something pressed up against his carotid artery extremely hard, and that caused the carotid artery to deform and to tear.
So let's talk a little bit about what this news article says. We are kind of talking off air too about this one, and this is where this is going to get tricky, not only for the product manufacturer, but I believe for the racing industry in general. In a nutshell,
this is one, and I after reading this, Josh and I talked, and I'm not gonna lie, I had some heartburn about sharing this because I value this product so much, and when you race fans hear what caused this injury to,
and I have my 2 cents into what,
and I do too.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about this for a little bit. It's not just a done deal. Yes, no, maybe so.
Right.
We're gonna get it done. But what they ended up discovering, and through everything, is that during the rollover at Tri-City, Jared's Hans device came wedged between his seatbelt and his neck and ended up being the pressure point that compresses carotid artery. Now you're thinking, it compresses carotid artery. How could he still be conscious? That cut off blood flow. I mean, you talk when we were kids, you put somebody in a sleeper hold and you choke them out. Well, when you're not actually choking the air out of them, you're actually restricting the blood flow to their head and they black out.
Is that what you did when you were a kid?
That explains a lot. So
I understand now, Matt.
But
that's awesome.
In reality, that's it. The press release flat out says it. It was caused by the Hans device.
So I mean, so they're direct. They honestly think. Now the press release, and I'm sure whoever did this investigation or whatever, is 100% stating.
I would hope. Reading it,
because
that's what it says.
This is where we have our 2 cents into this. Is that okay? So mind you, to recap, this was during practice.
This was during hot laps.
Hot laps. Okay. So during hot laps, you're out there, maybe 3 or 4 guys, maybe 5 guys, depending on what size track it is or whatever. And
you're shaking the car down.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
We see it every week. Guys go out there, shake their cars down for the night.
So this is kind of what I want to ask the race fans and stuff that are listening. You can text us here on Spreaker. You can live text us. Let's talk a little bit. You can call us in 910-6008, area code 360-910-6008. You can call into the show. This is what I want to ask you guys: is when you guys go out there talking about drivers now. When you guys go out hot laps or mudding in or anything else like that, are you guys full blown, fully seat belted in? Now, what I mean by that is I understand you have all your seat belts and stuff are together, all that type of stuff, but not as a race time where you cinch the belts down. Green flag comes out, your belts are cinched down, you guys are tight. How many of you drivers, be honest, go out there and have your seatbelt somewhat loose?
And keep in mind, Josh and I are not track officials, so we aren't going to penalize you if you say it.
Yeah, so let me get that real straight real quick, because on our last show, we had some certain people who were like that sit there and says, well, apparently, we don't need officials now, just talk to the announcers. I am not an official. I'm just an observer. I'm there as an announcer to sit there and tell my point of view on what's going on the track. If that happens to be right, that's why we take video. That's why we do what we do, is so we can sit there and have that recap. So when we do come on live here, we're not talking BS. Mind you, it's just our own point of view. It's not, we're not a race official. I would hate to be a race official, don't want to be a race official. What those guys do, I would hate to do, just because of the simple fact if they are put into that position of authority and having a chance to get, to get basically yelled at for something that they're trying to do for fun. This is supposed to be a fun sport. But
and that's the thing, is we've all got to realize that officials, we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes.
Absolutely.
I've made mistakes as a crew chief. I've made mistakes, doing everything. It happens. We're human. We're not robots. The officials aren't robots. Jeremy Means and Justin, the flaggers, they're not robots.
And
it happens.
And that's the thing too, is we had Jeremy or Justin on just for a short time after the show last week, and talked a little bit about him being, especially at a short track, him being a race director and a flagger at the exact same time. I wouldn't take that job title if it paid me $5,000 a night. Well, maybe. But I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take that job or that title, just because the simple fact is, him as a flagger is supposed to be, not quote watching the race, but he's supposed to be observing what's going on, to be there, track safety, all that type of stuff or whatever. And then say if something happens over in turn 1 and 2, and then something happens over in 3 and 4, how do you see that?
You're not a machine.
You can't do it. You can't do it all the time. And for those guys to be able to do what they do, hands down, I give them so much credit for doing what they do. But it's put out there for you race drivers, race fans, everything else. Text us, give us a call, talk to us. I mean, if you want to stay anonymous, just say, hey, anonymous. All that type of stuff. I mean, we're not gonna, we're not going to put
Nobody sees this.
Yeah, we're not going to put your name on the air, nothing like that. I just want to see how many drivers out there honestly go out during hot laps and not fully cinch their belts down because, hey, it's hot laps, right?
Well, let's take it a step farther. Mud in.
I'll be 110%. I've done it numerous times because it's mudding. You're doing 20 miles an hour. You're not getting the car up to speed. Now, mind you, if we happen to be the class that stays out, and I'll cinch my belts down a little bit more, whatever like that, and hammer down.
Do you wear your complete fire suit? I mean, they're coming out with these 2-piece fire suits now. Are you wearing your full fire suit, or are you just wearing the coat?
Right.
So what's going on? Are you just making it look like so you can get out there?
Because you're in a rush sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you also got to think about mud in too, and this is where my perspective comes in. If you're rolling in that car anywhere from at the racetrack, moving to the shop's one thing. You got to pull it in and out of the shop, power it up, take it down to get power wash. That's one thing. But when you're at the racetrack and it's in race ready condition,
you need to be in race ready condition.
You need to be in race ready condition. Everyone else there is in race ready condition. There's no, in my opinion, my personal opinion, not as a crew chief, not as being a guest host here on Moxie Media on Northwest Dirt News, not being affiliated with any racing organization. My personal opinion as widescreen is that if you're there at the track and you're in the race car, getting ready on the racing surface, period, you need to be fully suited up, including all pieces of your fire suit, gloves, head and neck restraint device, hybrid, whatever the case may be, fully belted in. Because
100%.
100%. Because here's the thing. Okay, why do we wear fire suits? It's because of the nature of these cars. They're piling, they're hauling the mail around these tracks with all this stuff. Well, what's to say you're out there on mud in and a fuel line comes loose and hits a header? You know, that's one of those things. It could happen. Granted, you should check that during your nut and bolt check, but what happens if the compression fitting comes apart?
Absolutely true.
I mean, you can't just stop the car and bail out.
Well, we'll take it another way further. Is that, say, mud in or whatever the case is, and say somebody's throttle sticks.
It can happen.
I've seen it happen. I've personally seen it happen. Years ago. I mean, this was years ago and stuff at Portland Speedway. But they're out there, warming up tires and everything else, and just happened. He burped the throttle, and it stuck open, and straight into 2 or 3 cars or what. I mean, I don't remember now if anybody got hurt, but I mean, those are the things and stuff that happen.
2 years ago, Trevor Glasser brought his car out to the racetrack. First race of the season. Gonna go shake it down. Gonna go racing. Well, he didn't even make it his first qualifying lap until the car was in a very precarious position with dirt on the roof.
Isn't that crazy?
It can happen at any time. I mean, racing's a sport. I mean, what's to say in basketball, you go up for the opening tip-off, you come down, sprain your ankle, break your leg, dislocate your hip. It can happen.
Torn ACL, all that type of stuff. I mean, anything. I mean, it's just,
Baseball. You go out there in batting practice. Are you wearing your helmet when the pitching machine's pitching at you?
Oh, you better.
Yeah. Or, you might end up like Josh and have Dane damage.
You dip Dane damage.
As Corey would say it. By the way, Corey, that Mai Tai you're sipping on, thanks for sharing, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for the pictures, jerk. See, I'm waiting for Sandy just to push him somewhere into the water just to in live show it, because they're having way too much fun kayaking and all that type of stuff. Remember, they're 3 hours behind us, so it's only 4 o'clock their time right now.
I know.
So they're probably out.
So that means sunset's going to be in about 2 hours.
Yeah, him hawing around for them night. But let's talk a little bit more about this Landers deal. Is that so now they're talking about the Hans device is what pinched between the neck and the seat belt, and what they say is the main cause of what has
that's what they're alluding to.
Okay.
And that's what they're saying in this article I'm reading here, from straight off of.
This is straight off the presses, mind you.
Straight off the presses. Josh, you didn't print me who this was.
Yeah, I did. It's up at top.
Right there?
Yeah.
All late models all the time.
DirectDirt.com.
Yep, DirectDirt.com. So,
I believe the person that
Kevin Kovac.
Yeah, Kevin Kovac.
Kevin Kovac with DirectDirt.com. So, they're saying that. Am I going to sit here and blame this injury on that? I'm not. I'm going off of what I'm seeing here. I haven't seen the research. I haven't seen anything. I'm not faulting Hans or any of those manufacturers.
So now this, you know where I'm going with this now in this next question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is that because it was hot laps, could it be what we were just talking about, that he wasn't fully seat belted tightly down and either hooked the right or whatever? I haven't seen the video on it. Could that be? Because I asked you before, because I didn't see the video, and you had more research and stuff on this than I did. I thought he just maybe tumbled, side to side. He actually went end over end,
and you can see it in the pictures that you posted on Moxie Media on Facebook. Is that in one of the pictures you can see it? His front wheels in that Bloomquist chassis are easily 4 feet off the ground.
Oh, that's way easy. And he's up towards the top groove.
He's up towards the top groove. The nose he's pointing the opposite direction of the way he should be going. The nose is all bent up. The front wheels are 4 feet off the ground. He's sitting. I mean, and you look at the back end too, up here in that first picture. The back end's already made contact.
I couldn't even imagine how, on the very first picture and stuff over there, I couldn't imagine what that is, the distance between the ground and the rear end and that.
Oh. It's easily 8-9 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, you could drive under him right now.
Yeah, that's just
I would
crazy.
not be surprised. You could probably stick another late model underneath him with as much air as he's got right in that picture.
So once he rolls back down, he's on the back deck lid, then he's on the driver's side. So do you think the point of impact and stuff with the Hans device could have been the third picture down?
You don't know. I'm not, you know, it's